Joe, Joe, click it for me. Okay. Hey.
I would do it. Are you going to speak? I would do it when you speak.
Because you said instead of we.
On which part? Oh my goodness.
I said we see
As far as taking that play, Brian said they do that all the time.
I said maybe. Well, I have to spend so much money. Well, then it's your own house. And why are you letting this marriage? Now stop. And I said, well, Joe, go on and talk. Well, I know he's not going to. It's like you just go in circles. Circles on this. And I was watching it. And I know he's just, and I'm out there, he makes some progress. He makes some big progress.
Right.
Talking about your husband? No, not my husband. This is, you know,
But,
I
I mean, Brian's like, that's not a big deal. We get very routine that they go in there. And they don't even take it out. They push the cord out for it. It doesn't really disturb it.
but I've got a new thing. Can you send me something else that I'm supposed to ask you? He just can't sign that agreement. And I said, well, I don't know if it's going to work.
Yeah.
But he's got another alternative.
Of course he does. All right.
I call this meeting to order. We roll call and have a quorum, so moving on to staff announcements.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Items number 25, 26, 28, and 33 are on your consent agenda. For deferral, items 22 and 27, the wastewater system and the concept plan for Owen Valley subdivision, are not on your consent agenda, even though we as the staff are recommending those items to be deferred as well. This is because the public hearing for item 21 has been advertised. 27, thank you. Has been advertised, and we do need to hold that public hearing. Additionally, there are revised reports for items 22 and 27 on your desk, as well as additional attachments for items 22 and 27. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Did we pull 34 and 35 on consent?
34 and 35 on consent.
Are 34 and 35
Yes, they're
still
on
on consent?
consent.
Okay.
Yes, those
all right.
are final plats.
All right, cool. Thank you. Thank you, sir. We will first move into a public comment session, and we do have one person that signed up for public comment. We do have the public hearing later on item 27. So at this time, you'll have a maximum of 3 minutes to speak. Please stand up, or please come to the podium, state your name, and we'll go from there. Warren Gardner.
Yes. I'm Warren Gardner, a resident of Williamson County and a four-year resident of Kings Chapel and Arrington. Thank you for the opportunity to speak before you today. Going back over a year or so, I was part of a group that spoke before the County Planning Commission to oppose a certain 70-lot expansion within Kings Chapel. Our big concern at the time was prolonged construction traffic, disruption in our nearly complete neighborhood. We were told by both the developers of Kings Chapel and High Park Hill that there would be no construction traffic using the, quote, emergency access road that now connects our community to High Park Hill. That road was approved solely as an emergency-only access point after the fire chief, lobbied by the developer, requested it, even though the fire station is actually closer to High Park Hill's main entrances. We now fast forward 2 years, and we're now dealing with daily construction traffic, mud-covered roads, heavy equipment, debris, all using our private street to access a development that isn't even connected to their own neighborhood. That's right. High Park Hill phases haven't been connected to their own infrastructure. Kings Chapel is essentially serving as their driveway. Long story short, it's a working road that gains access through our Kings Chapel road and gate. This work and construction traffic is solely for High Park Hill and should be accessed through that subdivision, not through ours. Now, I realize this issue of gate access is not a county decision. It's an HOA decision. Nevertheless, and unwittingly perhaps, the Planning Commission played a role in creating a loophole with respect to mandating that emergency roll. A loophole that motor graders, bulldozers, dump trucks, etc. drive through, as well as the day workers who man that equipment. So I ask you, how is High Park Hill using our gate and our road not in defiance of the county's prohibition against two homeowner communities using the same access road? And furthermore, from the perspective of the County Planning Commission, when does that High Park Hill Road become emergency? When does High Park Hill Road gain or require a closed gate? I pose these questions now, but I fully expect that myself and perhaps others in my community will be back again in the future raising the same points. Thank you for your time and consideration on this issue.
Thank you, sir. Okay, moving on, consideration of the minutes. Do we have any comments on the minutes as presented? Have a motion, to have a second? Second. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion passes. Consideration of the consent agenda. Is there anybody that needs to recuse?
I have a question. So 22 and 27
will be presented separately and not on the consent, correct?
That is
Correct.
correct, Jessica.
Okay, all right,
Yep.
okay.
All right. Do we have any comment on consent agenda or a motion? Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, motion passes. Moving on to, so now we're moving on to old business, item 22, and I think Sharon,
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I am recusing myself of this agenda item.
thank you. This is a site plan review for Owen Valley Treatment Facility for Owen Valley Subdivision Non-Traditional Wastewater System on 374.29 acres located off of Owen Hill Road in the 2nd Voting District. Staff?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is the Owen Valley wastewater treatment system. Whoops, wrong one. This was deferred at the June meeting. This is located off of Owen Hill Road. You can see it here in the red. Properties are approximately 374 acres in size. You can see them in the green and the purple. This will serve the Owen Valley subdivision plan for the property. That is item 27 on your agenda tonight. So on the site plan, it does depict a survey located headstones. You can see the inlet there with the circle. That's the location of those headstones. It's in the bend, the 90-degree bend of Owen Hill Road. This depicts an area where on your screen you can see the red arrow pointing to the black line, the area that a representative from the State Historic Preservation Office believes the graves are located and the extent of them. We do have an email from the Historical Preservation Office that we placed in front of you that said additional graves could be located further into the field. You can see the green arrows on the screen that indicate the direction of those graves and the location of them, or possible location of them, excuse me. Staff has asked the applicant to defer to allow for additional evaluations and has asked the applicant to complete the following. That is to delineate the limits of the existing cemetery using ground penetrating radar, to identify and locate any other cemeteries that may exist using the GPR, and then locate and identify any remaining vestiges of a church and school that had once been located on the property, and to show and label each of those items on the site plan. In order to comply with this request, the applicant has requested deferral to the August 2025 meeting. Staff does concur with this request.
Thank you. Do I have a motion for deferral? Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion passes. Moving on to item 23, site plan review for High Park Hill amenity area revised containing 0 buildable lots on 6.59 acres located off Murfreesboro Road in the 5th Voting District. Staff?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The property is located off Murfreesboro Road, shown in red with an arrow at the bottom of the screen. It contains 0 buildable lots, and the property is approximately 6.56 acres in size. It will be adding tennis courts shown in green and pickleball courts shown in yellow, and a fireplace shown with the yellow triangle, and the bathroom facilities are next to the parking lot. The amenity center improvements require planning commission review, and staff recommends approval with standard conditions outlined in the staff report.
Thank you. Any questions for staff or any comments? Yes, sir. Is the applicant present? State your name, please.
Yes, sir. Brian Holcomb with M2 Group.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
My question is, for the gentleman that spoke to us earlier, there'll be construction on this area. How will the construction equipment go through to do this amenity center?
I'm not aware that construction access is happening through there. We provided it's supposed to be a turnaround at the terminus of Florin Drive for construction traffic to access from 96 through High Park Hill and then turn
Through High Park. It
around.
won't go through Kings Chapel, it'll go through High Park.
I'm not aware of that happening at all, sir.
Thank you.
Any further questions? Do I have a motion on item 23?
Motion to accept staff recommendations.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second on item 23. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Moving on to item 24, preliminary plat review for Wild Grass Large Lot Easement Subdivision containing 3 lots on 95.48 acres located off Casparis Road in the 1st Voting District. Staff?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This project is located off Casparis Road. You can see Casparis Road shown in red in your upper left inset. The development totals 95.48 acres. It consists of 3 lots, as you can see in pink. The lots will be accessed via an access easement shown in green. The resource protection standards have been met. Building envelopes are separated by 200 feet. All lots will have fire sprinkler systems installed in all habitable structures. Water will be provided by individual wells. Wastewater will be handled via individual on-site septic systems. And staff recommends approval with standard conditions outlined in the staff report.
Thank you. Any questions for staff or anybody else on item 24? We have a motion. Do we have a second? We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed? Motion passes. Items 25 and 26 were on consent. Moving on to public hearing, item 27. Ms. Sharon?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I'm recusing myself of this item.
Thank you. Thank you. So I will read this. We'll have a staff report, and then we'll open up the public hearing from there. Concept plan review for Owen Valley subdivision containing 72 lots located on 374.29 acres located off of Owen Hill Road in the 2nd Voting District. Staff?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First, we'll take a look at an aerial of the area. We can zoom in and get a closer look of the property. So we'll discuss the concept plan. The site is located off of Owen Hill Road. There you see Owen Hill Road in the red. The property totals 374.29 acres. There's the boundaries of the property in the green. They're proposing a 72-lot conservation subdivision, and there are the 72 lots in the pink. A traffic impact analysis has been done. Roads will be public. There's the internal road network in the yellow. Water will be provided by the Mill Crofton Utility District. Wastewater is served by a non-traditional wastewater treatment and disposal system. There you see the wastewater treatment area in the brown in the curve. And the concept plan depicts a survey-located headstone located in a grove adjacent to Owen Hill Road, and that was discussed for item 22. The area depicts where the representative from the State Historic Preservation Office believes graves are located. Pull up that. The insert isn't pulling up. An email from the State Historical Preservation Office indicates there could be possible graves located further into the field. Staff has asked the applicant to defer to allow for additional evaluations and has asked the following applicant to complete the following. Delineate the limits of the cemetery using a ground penetrating radar. Identify and locate any other cemeteries that may exist using the GPR. Locate and identify any remaining vestiges of the church and school, and show and label each on the concept plan. In order to comply with staff's request, the applicant is requesting deferral to the August 2025 meeting. And the notice for the public hearing was published, and the zoning ordinance requires the public hearing be held, and that's why we're having a public hearing tonight. And the insert finally showed up. Shows where the headstones are located.
Thank you. So we will move into the public hearing. We have 11 people signed up on the public hearing at this point. Technically, the time frame is 30 minutes. Unless there's an objection by somebody on the planning commission, we'll technically make it 33 minutes, but each person will have 3 minutes total and to speak, and I'll run the timer and try to be nice about asking this to stop. So, but with that, I will open up the public hearing. Please come to the stand, state your name and your address, and we'll give you 3 minutes. So first is Eric Patton.
Good afternoon. My name is Eric Patton. I'm a resident at 6890 Bizzle Howell Road. And I'm actually here on behalf of our small subdivision called Sandstone Farms, which is at the southern part of the proposed concept plan. In fact, it's actually just south of detention pond number 4. I'd like to thank the Planning Commission for the opportunity for all of us residents to share our opinions and thoughts of what Williamson County is. So I think public comment is important as we grow as a community, so I appreciate the time. So of course, I'm sure many of us are going to say similar topics, but some concerns that we have in Sandstone Farms are particular to the detention pond. Is my understanding that is a vessel to catch the stormwater runoff and then release it slowly. Currently, we have issues with water flow through our private drive. In fact, recently we had to invest just shy of $50,000 to reestablish the road that we drive on. This additional water is going to further erode our area. I'm not sure if any considerations have been brought to the management of that water flow. Additionally, I'm not familiar with the wastewater management plan that's being proposed, but we have concerns with that wastewater from the sewage potentially bleeding into the detention pond and therefore draining into our development. Additionally, our development's called Sandstone Farms for obvious reasons. Sandstone is not a very solid stone. So we have concern as they proceed with this concept plan with blasting and hammering of rocks that it could disturb the foundations beneath our homes. And I just want to make sure that appropriate steps have been managed to mitigate any of those concerns. We also have issues with water supply. I know it was just mentioned that Millcrofton will be supplying the water, and this is not necessarily a county issue, but we have concerns with the water pressure in our development today. I'm sure many other on Owen Hill have as well.
30 seconds, please.
So just concerns to ensure that the water supply and pressures are going to be maintained. Same goes for electric, gas, all utilities. And then, of course, there's already concerns with traffic getting onto and off of Owen Hill from either Arno, Alasona or Nolensville Road. I know that the traffic study has been completed, but would be curious of what the results of that were. So thank you for your time.
Thank you for your time. Next is Mark Gerald. Hopefully. Gerard, sorry. Yep.
That's correct. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, members of the commission, for allowing us this opportunity to address you. My name is Mark Gerard. I'm a retired attorney. My wife is a retired college and hospital vice president. We live in a subdivision called Owendale, which is directly adjacent to the proposed subdivision. I previously offered a written submission to you and would be pleased to provide additional copies if you wish it at this time. The long existing small Owendale subdivision is comprised of approximately 9 residences of approximately 5 acres each. It is our submission that we and other Williamson County residents are gravely concerned that the proposed 72-lot subdivision violates this county's comprehensive growth plan. As the county astutely adopted in its comprehensive plan, its stated purpose and intent is to preserve the rural character, to reduce congestion, to guide growth into and around existing and limited developed areas. Williamson County's allure and charm is directly threatened by this proposed subdivision, and it is directly contrary to the county's vision and plan to preserve that rural character. The location of this proposed subdivision is clearly not in any existing developed strategic area around either 840 or I-65. Moreover, it's troubling that the applicant has proposed no fewer than 22 of their 72 lots within the sight lines and directly adjacent to the long-existing small Owendale subdivision. It is troubling as well that applicant's initial submissions to this commission proposed a 100-foot buffer just last month, and now this month it has been drastically reduced to only 50 feet. Although we object to the proposed development as a whole, if it is to go forward, pursuant to Article 311 of the subdivision regulations, we request that the applicant be required to install and maintain an opaque buffer, as that term is defined in Section 15.06 of the zoning ordinance, for any portion within the sightlines of Owendale. Article 311 empowers this commission to require the applicant to provide additional plantings or methods of screening if you find that the required buffer of the zoning ordinance is inadequate to screen Owendale from the proposed subdivision.
30 seconds, please.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Compressing so many proposed lots so close to the 5-acre parcels of Owendale will result in a material diminution of property values. We request that this commission consider that carefully and appreciate all of your input and thought into this. We also share Mr. Patton's view with respect to flood runoff and that there should be no access through Owendale Way or Owendale Lane to the proposed subdivision if it is to go forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next is Connor Valentine.
Hi, thanks for your time. My name's Connor Valentine. I live also on Owendale Lane, and when I saw the sign go up for this development, I started doing some research as to, where it lies and how it affects the quality of life there and the history. And one thing I found is this really awesome Allison Chapel school and cemetery that's been brought up and discussed, but I wanted to just let you know some of what I found and my thoughts on it. It was a black church, school, and cemetery starting in the 1800s, went into the 1950s. The local history ties into some of the local families that still live there that have been generational farmers and landowners that are directly connected to the school, the children of Reverend Hatcher. And I really feel like, as I've learned the history of what's in my backyard, because I didn't really know it was there until this development kind of caused me to start to look into it, I feel like that's an area that should be preserved and memorialized. And the current plan puts a septic system, excuse my lack of, a sewer or a septic, at that site, at and around this historic chapel and graveyard site for this really unique black school and cemetery and graveyard. So I just don't feel like that's an appropriate layout. I'd like to see the history be preserved and in a better way than just driving by in the future and being like, hey kids, see that septic sewer system? That's where that Allison Chapel used to be, and it was a really important place to a lot of people, but now it's a septic site. So that's point one. I also want to talk about Owen Hill Road. Next to Poltite Road, it's probably the most dangerous road in Williamson County. There's several 90-degree bends, one of which you've shown on this on the screen. There's several 90-degree bends. There's tree tunnels, sharp turns, drop-offs. There's no guardrails. There's no shoulders. And there's farm trucks that go through there, or farm equipment. I mean, to think about increasing the traffic count by multiples, several multiples, just for this development, and then to imagine where we could be in 5-10 years if this new development, which is, averages, the lot size is kind of like 1 or 2 homes per acre is my estimation.
30 seconds, please.
Thank you. What's Owen Hill Road going to be like with all of those people trying to get in and out? Because this is 15 minutes off the freeway. This isn't like the Grove, which is right off 840 and has easy access. This is a 15-minute drive on rural roads, and there's no other way out there. So I think it could be a big mistake to overdevelop it. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Steve Belanger.
Thank you. My name is Steve Belanger, and I'm a resident on Dewdropping Lane, 6810 Dewdropping Lane, just off of the top of Owen Hill Road. I'm coming before you tonight because too am concerned about maintaining the character of our neighborhood. We have you to thank in large part for being able to enjoy the property that we already have, or if not you personally, your forerunners, I imagine, because of the work you've done on the comprehensive land use plan that I want to refer to now, because we are zoned, of course, as a rural area. And reading from your website, I'm going to just touch on, there's a list of 8 items on the page addressing the rural character. You talk about the desired character for rural areas as should be a continuation of historic rural and agricultural patterns, including farms. Another item, uses are encouraged to coexist with agricultural uses. Rural tourism that are compatible with rural character. I'm just taking a little item from each paragraph on this page. Residents should not expect urban or suburban level of service. Stream corridors, woodlands, valuable natural resources should be preserved. Historic resources should be preserved and maintained, and roadways should be designed to standards appropriate for their classification, in this case, farmland, rural, etc. And then there's one paragraph here that is actually modified that says that flexible design should allow conservation subdivisions, which is the way the developer is approaching this project, which, if I understand correctly, means that rather than the 5 acres that we are supposed to be allotted per lot, that gives us the character that we enjoy, they can consolidate properties. And in this way, if you look at the plan, you'll notice that they're all long, skinny, 1.5 acre lots that will likely result in people having 10 feet to their property line from their homes and looking 20 feet across to their neighbor's house. So it'll be as if we went right downtown Spring Hill or Franklin and grabbed a chunk of the tightest neighborhood you can find and stuck it right out there at the outer skirts of the rural land that we've got. Now,
30 seconds, please.
Thank you. The plan says that this sort of development is supposed to be coterminous with other developments of its character. We are not coterminous. What this developer has done is he said, we're a company that makes $800,000 houses. You guys go out there and find us a piece of property where we can build a big pile of $800,000 houses. Don't take any regard for the fact that the county planners have said that we have 5 acres per parcel. All of us in this neighborhood are $2 million houses. There isn't one in the $800,000 range in miles. And
Thank you.
There we are. So these guys are building for their own purposes,
yep.
not for our needs.
Moving on to Kathy Marlin, please.
Good evening. I'm Kathy Marlin, and I live at Harpeth Paintsville Road, not very far from Owen Hill Road in unincorporated Williamson County. I am an advocate for the preservation of cemeteries and our local history I am concerned for the future of the cemetery at Alisona, or Allison Chapel, as it is sometimes called, located on the property up for development on Owen Hill Road and the site where the school once stood. We have already lost too much of our history and too many cemeteries in the past, particularly African American history and cemeteries. I feel development needs to be paused on this property until all concerns for this historic site can be addressed. Please honor and respect this historic site and those buried there. I am speaking for those who can no longer speak for themselves. Thank you.
Thank you. Graham Perry.
Yes, thank you for this opportunity to speak. I am Graham Perry, and I am the Historic Cemetery Preservation Specialist at the Tennessee Historical Commission. And those emails that you have referred to, those are from me. So I am here today, even though that I am a resident of Williamson County, I am here to speak on from the Tennessee Historical Commission's perspective on the preservation of the cemetery at Alisona Cemetery is what I'm calling it. I have actually walked the site, and I have talked to the developer and everything like that, and it seems to me that the right things are happening as far as preservation for this cemetery. One thing that does concern me is if there is a retention pond or sewage area or whatever that's near the cemetery. Tennessee Code Annotated 46.8 states that it is each grave must be protected within 10 feet. You can dig a retention pond and leave a 10-foot buffer, and that's all you have to do. But the problem is if there's erosion underneath the grave, that could be an issue, and that would be something that our office would consider to be desecrating a grave. So it's something to be considered when y'all are working on the cemetery, when you're working on the development with the cemetery. It is not my concern about the development itself. That is something else. It's simply the cemetery. When I was out there probing, it is possible that there are graves past the delineation line that I've had. The recent 1951 overhead that I've gotten, the aerial, pretty much confirms what I think is what the dimensions of the cemetery is. But I know from a historical perspective that I've been to cemeteries all over the place, and sometimes people that aren't supposed to be buried in the cemetery bury outside of it. So that's one of the things, and I've talked to the developer about this just to make sure that to be very careful when you're outside of that, and if something that resembles a grave or grave goods or whatever is turned up, that they follow state law by contacting the local police, the health department, and also the Department of Archaeology to make sure, and they should not build anymore until that is surveyed by them and made sure that it's either not a grave or if it is. So that is one of the things that I'm here to say, is just to make sure that those laws are followed. Other than that, like I said, I have worked with the developer some, and I do think that they are, as far as the cemetery doing, they're trying to do the right thing, and I really appreciate that. When I first walked into this job, I had developers just do what they wanted to, and 5.5 years later, I'm actually getting developers call me to come and check out areas and things like that, and I'm more than happy to do that. But the concerns of the citizens about the cemetery are valid. The graves, the people who are buried in this cemetery, being African American especially, since there are a lot of African American cemeteries that are disappearing, a lot of them don't have a lot of information about them, but it's all about respect for the dead. And TCA 46.8 is the Family Burial Grounds Protection Act, and one of the reasons why that was put up is to make sure that people respect the dead when they are doing any kind of construction or protection or whatever it is. So I really appreciate being here tonight and being able to speak to you, and thank you so much.
Thank you
All
for
right.
your time. I'm moving on to Jasper Hatcher Jr.
Thank you, Brother Chairman and committee. I'm here to, my name is Jasper Hatcher Jr. I'm the first son of Reverend Jasper Hatcher. Some of you may have known him. He was a pillar member of the College Grove, Williamson County community, some of the mayors, and maybe, I don't know how many mayors, but highway was dedicated in his honor, and some of the important and people in respected positions were there for the ceremony. But I'm here, we still preserve, and we are still farming in the community. We live at 6721 Owen Hill Road, and we still try to maintain about 180 acres. Those acres have been in the family since 1865, and they were acquired by my grandfather and my grandfather's father, who dedicated and passed that land on down through I'm the fourth generation, and we're still farming out there, and this subdivision is going to cause some, I guess, safety kind of hazards for farmers out there, because we drive tractors on that land, on those roads, and we produce cattle, and we still do some farming with gardening and raising corn and hay. And we live in 6721 is in the 90-degree bend of what Mr. Connor mentioned, that there are some 90-degree bends. And when we come out onto the highway to get to other areas of the farm, there's traffic, and something needs to be done to preserve safety on the roads. And I realize we have to coexist, and sometimes we lose, but we need to gain something also in preserving. Say, if we do take that site as a septic site, then we need to preserve those grave areas, and if the site needs to be moved for that purpose, then it should be moved. And I want you to take that into consideration. And my dad and 8 of his, well, it's about 12 in that generation, they all attended that school, Allison Chapel School. And if we could see something to preserve that site, we would really support that. I have a sister here also, and Dad had 8 children of his own. I think our generations produced a lot of kids, but we're still there, and we'd like to remain there and live in harmony if we have to with the subdivision. But if with improvements we lose something, we want to gain something, more or less. So that's my position, and I stand in line with some of the previous speakers about preserving what we can. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next is Alan Ryder.
Yes, my name's Alan Ryder. I live on 6731 Owen Hill Road, right in front of Mr. Hatcher. I have a farm. I have cattle. I've got horses. I got chickens. I got dogs and cats. So I live in a rural lifestyle. That's what I'd like to maintain, is my rural lifestyle, because I invested a lot of money in Williamson County for that rural lifestyle. So I just want to read some things from your zoning ordinances. It says, in the purpose, in Article 1, Section 103, purpose of zoning regulations is to implement the Williamson County Comprehensive Land Use Plan by coordinating growth, establishing a responsible pattern of land use, regulating the bulk sale and density to preserve the desired character of the community, providing suitable transitions between areas of community of different character. Everything around us is 5-acre lots. Even in College Grove next to the elementary school, it's 5-acre lots. There's no 1-acre lots except in the College Grove Village area. And that's fine if you want to do that in the College Grove Village district, but not in RD5 where it's 5 acres and it's supposed to be. It's also just preserving and enhancing the county's overall rural character and conserving and protecting the historic resources that we've talked about with grave sites in schools. And just promoting the preservation of open space. This does not promote anything on preserving open space at all. And if we look at the zoning districts in Article 10 for RD5, it says the purpose and intent is the purpose of the rural development of RD5 is to support and protect the rural character and agricultural uses of Williamson County east of I-65. And it says, is the intent of the district to continue to promote agricultural and rural uses of land within the district. That's what Mr. Hatcher and I do. And if you get onto the conservation subdivision standards, there's just a lot of different things. It seems like they're trying to back into getting around having 5 acres. And don't understand it because when we look at these conservation districts and you see examples in your zoning, it looks very different from what these folks have. Very different. I mean, you've got a little road with a few houses surrounded by a lot of acreage. That makes sense, all right? We could understand that. This does not make sense at all in that area. People hunt around that right now. People hunt on Mr. Hatcher's land. They hunt on my land. So when we look at all these things, we're just trying to remind you
30 seconds, please.
Yeah. We're just trying to remind you that at the end of the day, Williamson County is supposed to be a rural county. I mean, our ag center right now doesn't even have any rural, it doesn't have RD5 around it at all. It has houses and developments. I kind of laugh because all the agricultural land is gone around the ag center. And so when we look at that, we're worried that that'll happen around us. So I appreciate y'all's time tonight.
Thank you. Next is Mike Reynolds.
How y'all doing tonight? I'm, as you said, my name's Mike Reynolds. I'm a 20-year Sandstone Farms resident and a lifelong Arno Road resident. We still have a family farm on Arno Road. And I guess I'm just going to be kind of going over what everybody else has said, but as far as our Sandstone Farms concerns, the water drainage is a pretty major deal for us. We just spent a ton of money to maintain our private road. And we're afraid that the drainage is going to put us back in that shape again where we have to do that again. Also, we're worried about the blasting from the construction. I'm sorry, I'm not as eloquent as some of my previous speakers, but I'll try. Also, we're worried about traffic on the road. Owen Hill is a small rural road, and to put that many more cars on it is really a concern, not to mention putting all that on the Arno Road, which is already super dangerous compared to what it has been in history. And I've also heard that there's been another large plot of land sold just a little ways from this on Owen Hill Road. So we're wondering if maybe this is going to be something that's going to continue. We're going to have these small lots, multiple houses, to where everybody else now in our neighborhood, we got 8 houses and they're all plus or minus 5 acres. And we'd like to also maintain our rural atmosphere. And we just don't want it to, this to kind of set a precedent for, hey, you can go out there and build anything you want. And so, anyway, like I said, that's about all I want to say. I'm just kind of repeating what's already been said anyway, so I appreciate your time.
Thank you. Next is Miss Judy Herbert.
Hi, y'all. I'm Judy Herbert. I'm a 2nd District County Commissioner. I represent this area. So that's one reason I'm here, and one reason I really live really close to this development, and I, of course, don't want to see it happen. And number 3, my mother's Louise Lynch. She was a county historian back in the 1970s. She printed several books on graveyards, and she'd really be mad at me if I was not here fighting to keep this development off these graveyards. And I've asked her a lot. I said one good thing that's happened with this, I've seen a lot of new residents come in and fighting this along with the old residents, and it's been great. But it's not just, it's this graveyard that had the school and the cemetery for the blacks. I've also heard that they may not even own this property, that if you go back in the deeds, this property, if it was ever sold, was supposedly went back to the original owners. So I think this needs to be investigated more for that. Also, I've been told there's another cemetery back there that part of it has been preserved, but part of it was, I assume, plowed over back years ago. So I think there's 2 cemeteries on this property that I think there needs to be a lot more investigation before anything goes forward, and I don't think continuing to August is enough time. So I'm not even going to get into how much I don't want this development. I'm just focusing on the cemeteries right now, and I hope you will continue this a little further out, because I think there's a lot more work to be done before anything's approved. Thank y'all.
Thank you. Thank you. And our last speaker is Miss Betsy Hester.
Good evening and thank you. I am Betsy Hester and I represent the 2nd District. Thank you for this opportunity. So this conservation subdivision is in my district. Conservation subdivisions are not my favorite. I have a moot question. I know you are not in a position to answer any questions, but would this property perk for septic tanks if it were developed on the 5-acre basis? I also wanted to say that we work very, very hard for our 2040 conservation plan for Williamson County. So many of you worked hard at it. And our county commission voted for 1 home per 5 acres. In no part of that ever did I think that the step system, septic tank fluent pump with a sand circulating filter, never I thought that would be on top of graves. And I think I don't care for that at all. I think that's dishonored. Individuals have gone before us. As Kathy Marlin said, they can't speak for themselves. I don't want any of my relatives in rural parts of North Carolina to have septic fields on top of their graves. That's very disturbing to me. Maybe on the county commission, we are going to have to come up with resolutions to protect graveyards, to protect our historical past in Williamson County. This church and schoolhouse were very important to the Allisonic community. Very important. Anyway, and I had another point, and I should have written it down. I beg your pardon. I did not. So another thing I'm concerned about is this L turn. As Mr. Hatcher said, there's farm equipment going down Owen Hill. It's one of our little county pig paths. Narrow little road, trees all the way up to the road, and deep ditches on either side. I was before the Highway Commission last week because I have had many complaints from constituents about traffic on Arno Road. We don't have the money to improve all of these roads to 3 and 4 lanes, much less do something about the drainage. This is, to me, some of these subdivisions are asking the county commission to raise taxes. So when you consider all that has been spoken about, do you want your taxes to be raised in Williamson County? I do not want property taxes to go up. We're already in tight budget years. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, my name is Jason Holland. I'm an attorney in Nashville. I apologize. I came in right at 5:30. If I could just have a minute or two. The main thing I want to just ask of the commission.
Hang tight.
Sure.
It's really our decision, correct? So I'm gonna give you two things. I'll give you 1 minute, if you don't mind. And the next meeting, there's a public comment period where you could come and say 3 minutes of, if you don't mind, because we don't want 50 people showing up like this.
I understand, Mr. Chairman. Mainly what I wanted to ask is that I think that I represent adjacent property owners here that are concerned about this development. I do agree and want to underscore the concerns about density as it relates to adjacent properties, inconsistent with the comprehensive plan. But what I really wanted to ask is that I think that the location and scope of this cemetery is a critical element to how people feel about this development. And I wanted to just make a request that the public hearing be kept open so that once this survey is completed and we really know the impact and the feasibility of this development with that information, that folks be able to comment specifically on that. So what I really wanted to do was just ask that the public hearing be kept open to give that opportunity for the August meeting. So thank you.
And state your name again,
Sorry,
please.
Jason Holloman, Holleman. Thank you.
Thank you. So at this point, we did hear the staff report deferring this to August. There are lots of good comments that were brought before us tonight, lots of good information in emails and State Historic Preservation Office being here tonight. We really appreciate you being here. And, the good thing is that staff has heard these and understands these and asked for that deferral, and the developer has agreed to it. And, as the SHPO office said, that you can't build a grave or a septic system on top of a grave. So, that's not going to happen in Williamson County. And, but at this time, I will open it up for discussion among the Planning Commission, see if there's any comments. We do have the choice to leave the public hearing open, and it could extend to next time, or we can move forward with closing the public hearing. I do believe there's a lot of good things in motion based on the comments I've heard tonight that staff can hopefully address. So, any comments?
Chairman, I have a comment.
Yes, Robin.
So they referred to the Allison Chapel. Is it still there, or is it? I was trying to look on the map, and I don't.
I don't believe it
Google
is.
Maps.
Based on the handout, I believe it's in the corner. And, yeah.
Richard Howes with SEC. No, the building is not there. Essentially, there's a handful of headstones there, and we have probed somewhat. We plan to do the GPR as requested to see if there's anything further than what Graham has already denoted for us.
Do you know, like, how much further you would probe out from the graves?
I'm not an expert on that. I can't answer that. I don't know.
And someone mentioned, I think it was Commissioner Herbert, a possible other cemetery on the property. Have y'all located or?
I've
you
looked
aware?
online, and there's only this one that's on our property as we've seen it based on what's online. I'm not saying that there's not one there. That's going to be determined through GPR use and stuff.
Okay. That's all I have for the moment. May come back.
Yeah, Mr. Crowan.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, I agree with the deferral, going along with the deferral, but I would like to see us extend this public hearing into next month. I'm sure we've got most of the information, but I would hate to say that we missed anything in this, and I don't think it would do any harm to extend it long enough so if something new came up, it would be brought to our attention.
Thank you.
Are we required, if the public hearing is extended, does that require the subsequent meetings to be pushed another month as well? Okay.
No.
Okay.
So do we need a motion to keep the public hearing open? I move that we extend the public hearing to the next meeting when this topic is an agenda item.
Okay. So let's, really need a motion to accept deferral, but keep the public hearing open. If I could get that.
You can do that in 1 minute.
Yeah.
Okay. So I move to accept staff's recommendation for a deferral and keep the public hearing open.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
I do have a couple questions for staff. Is this the right time for that, or what are we thinking?
At this point, no. Take an action, but if you want to circle back
Yeah.
to me or them.
Yep. Thank you. Okay, moving on. Item 28 was on the consent agenda. Moving on to preliminary plats. Item 29, preliminary plat review for James Sokol and Kendall Sokol property, large lot easement subdivision containing 2 lots on 11.95 acres located off of Meeks Road in the 5th voting district. Staff?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This property is located off Meeks Road. You can see an arrow pointing in the direction of Meeks Road, which is not actually showing on that drawing. The development totals 11.95 acres. Consists of 2 lots, as you can see in the pinkish lavender color. And the lots will be accessed via an access easement shown in green. Variance was granted by the BZA to allow the access easement to be closer than 200 feet apart. And you can see the easements there also in green. Resource protection standards have been met. Building envelopes have been separated by 200 feet, and the fire apparatus access standards have been applied. Water will be provided by the Millcrofton Utility District. Wastewater will be managed by the non-traditional wastewater treatment and disposal system. And staff recommends approval with standard conditions outlined in the staff report.
Thank you. Do we have any comments on item 29?
I have a quick question. I know there's another house up there on the hill that has, it has an easement to it. Will it use this easement for these 2 lots? Do we know?
I'm not sure.
Is that Mr. Moon's property?
Madge.
No, they will not use it.
Is themselves to keep with their, because I know there's like one road that goes up in there and then
Then
their
it's,
roads.
yes, they're not accessing this easement.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions on item 29? Do I have a motion?
Motion to accept staff recommendation.
Second? All those in favor, say aye. All those opposed? Motion passes. Moving on to item 30, preliminary plat review for the villages of Triune East containing 59 single-family lots and 64 multifamily lots on 63.78 acres located off of Horton Highway and Murfreesboro Road in the 5th Voting District. Staff?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This property is located off of Murfreesboro Road, Horton Highway at Malachi Lane. You can see them on the screen in front of you. Property totals approximately 64 acres in size. It is a 59-lot conservation subdivision. You can see that in the mint green. And then a 64-lot townhome development in the purple. I did notice a typo. This has 91 acres of open space. It should be 54 acres of open space. The applicant is proposing a private roadway network. Numerous off-site roadway improvements are required in conjunction with this phase. We have placed those items in your packet. Excuse me, those off-site roadway improvements have been reviewed and approved by TDOT and the Williamson County Highway Department. Wastewater is handled by the Triune Wastewater Facility. The waterway natural area and natural resource protection standards have been met. The plat is consistent in layout with the concept plan approved in March of this year, and staff recommends approval with the standard conditions outlined in the staff report, including the construction of off-site roadway improvements prior to submittal of the first final plat.
Thank you, staff. Any questions on item 30? Do I have a motion?
Sorry, did he say 51 acres open space?
54.
Yeah, 54 acres instead of the 91 as noted above. Yes.
Just like to say condolences to Mr. John Powell, the original applicant. He passed away just a couple weeks ago, I guess, and we all know who he is. He's very large life. So I just wanted to say that we just have condolences to his family.
Yep.
Just thinking about them.
Any other comments or a motion?
Motion to accept staff's recommendation. Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed? Motion passes. Moving on to item 31, preliminary plat review for Marlowe Springs at Carl Road, large lot easement subdivision containing 5 lots on 92.6 acres located off Carl Road in the 9th Voting District. Staff?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This project is located off Carl Road. You can see Carl Road in the red and the right-hand inset at the top. Development totals 91.81 acres. Consists of 5 lots, as you can see in the pinkish lavender color. Lots will be accessed via an access easement, as shown in green. Resource protection standards have been met. Building envelopes have been separated by 200 feet, and fire apparatus access standards have been met. Water will be provided by the HB and TS Utility District. Wastewater will be handled via individual on-site septic systems approved by Sewage Disposal Management. And staff recommends approval with standard conditions outlined in the staff report.
Thank you. Any questions related to item 31? Second? All those have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed? Motion passes. Moving on to item 32, preliminary plat review for Stevens Valley subdivision, phase 12, containing 0 buildable lots on .697 acres located off Stevens Valley Boulevard in the 8th Voting District. Staff?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This phase is located off of Stevens Valley Boulevard. There you see the boulevard in the red. Phase 12 is 0.697 acres. There you see the property in the pink. Contains zero buildable lots. The purpose of this phase is to capture a new alley that was aligned with the alley in Davidson County to the north, and also to capture utility improvements that have been done in Williamson County. Water will be provided by the Harpeth Valley Utilities District. Wastewater is handled via the Harpeth Valley Utilities District. And staff recommends approval with standard conditions outlined in the staff report.
Thank you. Any questions on item 32? I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, motion passes. The 33, 34, 35 items are all on consent. So we have a motion for adjournment. So moved. Thank you.